to make those changes that need to be done. Elaine, are you still?
Yeah, they got me back.
Oh,
Yay!
good.
Yay! I was just asking you when we lost you, if you're going to, is this thing you're doing, are you going to change MUFON from the inside, or are you looking more towards creating something completely new?
Well, no. I mean, recreating MUFON would be a lifetime's work. I'm not trying to recreate MUFON. I'm trying to get people inside MUFON to wake up. And it's not only me, it's the whole committee. The committee to reform MUFON, it's the 6 people. Trying to get the people inside MUFON to wake up, to what's going on. Everything I told you guys up till we got cut off mysteriously is kind of the over case. But then if you start to drill down even further down into these questions, as we are doing, and the place we landed as the place to look is CMS. CMS is the computer management, the MUFON computer where all the cases are. Computer
management system, yeah.
That's right. So we started hearing stories about CMS, information missing cases.
Case files, gone. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Dispatchers would tell me things like, during the Bigelow period when they were being paid, they were watching CMS 24 hours a day, and except in the middle of the night. And they would tell me things like, when just before we signed off our shift, cases would come in, and we'd say, okay, we'll assign them in the morning. And then when they get up in the morning and go to the CMS, the cases were gone. And so what we're still trying to analyze this. It's very difficult to understand a computer system to whether it's being tampered with or not.
Right.
And to do it systematically, you have to be somehow systematic. So one methodology that we came on that we're using now and that we have probed to a certain extent for 1 year, the year 2009. Every month, MUFON reports without annotation, without any details. They'll just tell you in there once a month. They'll say, "Well, we received this many entity cases." An entity case is when somebody reports seeing a creature that's not human. They'll say, "Okay, this month we got 4 entity cases, or this month we got 17 entity cases." Now, what we're doing now is we're looking in there and we're seeing, can we find these cases? They said they had 16 entity cases. Where are they? And what we're finding is about 60% of them are not there. And so now we're saying, okay, wait a minute. What are we really looking at here? And this is the theory that I'm using, and I'm not persuaded, but I'm working with this following theory. The theory is, if you were the United States government, if you were the cover-up, if you were the part of the American and Canadian bureaucracy that is dedicated to making sure that the public never realizes that UFOs are real and extraterrestrial, and you would like MUFON. You would want, because, you see, the government doesn't have somebody on every street corner. So here you've got this wonderful reporting system where people are constantly tuning in the website and telling telling MUFON what they saw, what happened to them. So this part is real good. We want this. I'm speaking now if I was the government. But what else would you want? Then you would want all the information to come in. But what if you said, you know what? We don't really want all the information to go out. We want it all to come in. So we don't want to destroy MUFON. Because some people have said, they're trying to take MUFON down. No. We want to keep MUFON. We want all the information to come in. We want all the states to be busy and active and recruiting new members and publicizing MUFON, and more people will report cases. But we don't want all the information to go out. We don't want people to know that there was 17 entity cases in 1 month.
Right.
We don't want people to know that there was.
And we don't want the state directors or the field director or the field operatives to talk to anybody about this. So what we'll do is we'll come up with a piece of paper that's a non-disclosure.
Right.
The same one we use,
Right.
in the military or in the high areas of secrecy. We'll just photocopy that bad boy, change the names around to MUFON and state director and field operative, and we'll give them that, and they're stupid enough, they'll sign it.
Right.
And we'll have the secrecy that we want.
That's right. That's right. So that's right. So now we're thinking, hey, what's the control mechanism here? It's STAR Team. It's the STAR Team itself, where all the significant cases are siphoned off, sent into the STAR Team. The STAR Team can write up their little reports. No one can read them. Somebody said to me, well, given this gag order here, who has the authority to read the cases? It's as though you had to have a clearance,
Yeah.
It's completely foreign to MUFON, completely foreign to its mission.
Yeah.
Right.
But as though you have a clearance.
Do you have an... Sorry to cut you off. Do you have any idea how many members the MUFON has right now internationally?
Yeah, 2,800.
And
I see we're out of time.
And what numbers? No, we're okay.
We're good.
What numbers were the membership back in the 90s?
Well, the highest MUFON is twice that. 6,000. MUFON at one time at 6,000. Now, people are talking about Bigelow and what he did or didn't do. But see, now we still have the STAR Team. The STAR Team survived Bigelow. But now we don't have 24-hour coverage. Now, what I'm getting at here is, see, these dispatchers, they were honest people. They were honest eyes watching the CMS and watching cases disappear, and they noticed all these irregularities that are not, they're not, you have to be really familiar with the system to notice the irregularities. But no, we don't have those people anymore. MUFON, there's no Bigelow, there's no salaries, there's no 24-hour coverage, there's no honest eyes, there's no team of dispatchers, honest dispatchers. There's just who? We don't know anymore. Okay.
So those people are gone. Their positions are not existent right now. The people the honest eyes that were on the job are no longer on the job. Now that seems a little strange, don't you think?
Well, it's very convenient to see, because now it means you could tamper a lot more with CMS, and there aren't any honest eyes to watch it. Right. And some of those honest eyes are talking to the Committee to Reform MUFON and telling us things, because we wouldn't know. We wouldn't know about the missing cases, and we wouldn't know. And, of course, during Bigelow's time, Bigelow would send out his own teams of investigators.
Right.
Because he knew about all the cases as soon as they came in. And that's very... Okay, that's what it is, But now we don't know anymore. So we don't even have... We don't know, but this pattern of let's fire all the experienced people. Let's have only inexperienced, completely loyal, and totally scared people investigating these cases. Let's gag them. And now everybody's been asking, I've been told, where is the server for CMS? Where is it? Nobody knew. People said to me, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? They'd say, if you knew where it was, you'd have a lot of the answers. Well, we think we found out where it is.
Ooh, where is it? It's
in the home of one of the members of the board.
Oh, okay.
All right, and we don't know. Now, let's say the government had that objective that I mentioned before. Let's say the objective was to keep MUFON up and running, really healthy, getting a lot of cases in, but the cases don't come out. Now, the question then becomes, is MUFON cooperating with this? You see?
Sounds like they are.
I don't know. Mm-hmm. We don't know. We don't, and we'll never really, we are not going to really know. But the pattern is there. See, now we see the pattern. And as far as I'm concerned, there's only one solution, and that is we need a different corporate charter. We need voting by the members. We need a board of directors that is new, runs for election, answers questions, is answerable to the members. You see, we've got to have that. And that's what our petition is about. And we're looking for signatories on that.
Now, have you got a list of all the members out there?
A MUFON list?
Yeah, a list of all the members.
We do, and we got it by accident.
Okay.
Just before this whole thing broke, the MUFON headquarters, by accident, sent out the entire membership list of the organization. We didn't steal it. It was sent to us by mistake.
And have you been able to contact the majority of the members?
Yes.
And what has been the response?
Well, it's causing a great deal of questions, more and more questions being asked. Of course, MUFON is extremely annoyed at what we're doing. You know, they say we're fomenting to riot, and we are, but we are going to continue.
Yeah, but I mean, people need to know what's going on, right?
Yeah. You're darn right they do.
Yeah, transparency is important here. You know what? If they're completely innocent, that will come out.
Right.
It's only if there's some shady business going on that they would be upset.
Right. You know, they could start by not pushing the member, getting rid of these doggone forms that they're requiring people to sign. We're going to notify the members. We're going to put these forms forcefully in front of the members and ask them, did you sign this? Did you sign this thing? You sign your life away here? Why did you sign this? Don't sign any more of these things. Because people think they have to sign them.
Right.
But I mean, if you give all this information that we're discussing right now, all this information goes out to all the membership, right? I would assume that a good majority will either quit or we'll bring it up to them and say, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, well, that's what we're aiming for. We're aiming to have them really challenge the membership and say, look, we don't like the way you're running things, and we know we're never going to get to the bottom of this, but we want to just cut through the Gordian knot. It's too big of a knot. We can't untangle it.
Right.
So we just cut it in half.
And when you're a member, right? I mean, all you are is getting a magazine. Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is, if you're a member, all you get is a magazine. Other than what else are you? Unless you decide to take the course, the investigator course, and you become an investigator.
Well, I can't be an investigator anymore.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So now they took your badge away.
Oh,
hey, now that you became a magazine subscriber.
That's correct. That's correct. They still want my $45.
It's not like your 25 years of experience just disappeared overnight. They took your badge away, therefore you have no experience.
And they do it right and left. They do it right and left. Yeah. They just take people's badges away right and left for no reason. It to some extent you get the feeling that it's entertainment. It became part of the new culture in MUFON to give orders and push people around. And you know how people are, if you kind of give them permission that they can push people around, they'll do it. And I can cite you chapter and verse, people that were fired for absolutely no reason. Just none. All right? They didn't ask any questions. They didn't do anything. They just fired. Yeah. Or their badge is taken away. It's almost like it's gotten to be entertainment.
Mm. Out of the 2,800 people there, how many of those would you say are, in the status of investigators?
About 1,000. That's what we hear. About 1,000 field investigators out of 2,800 members.
Okay.
So about a third of MUFON.
So those individuals are probably the ones that need to be reached, and they're the ones that have to probably, bring that up to them.
Yeah.
That's correct. That's correct. I think it's important to say this. We are not trying to take MUFON down by any means. What we want to see is the membership to take purposeful, collective action to reform the organization. MUFON is an indispensable organization. We need it. We want it. We love it. But we must change it. And what we feel is if it isn't changed, then people are going to vote with their feet. They just will drop out.
Right. Yeah. Which in the end is maybe what they want. Anybody who would get up in arms about being controlled, they want those people to go away, and they will go away. And the ones left are just the ones that are easily controlled.
Yes. Yes. And so we're telling people, we get a lot of letters that says, I'm dropping out of MUFON. I say, don't drop out. You're free. If you're willing to drop out, then you can't be threatened by being fired. You can raise your voice.
Right, exactly.
You can call for change. Don't drop out. Like I said, we need MUFON. The world needs, North America needs MUFON.
Now,
and we need an honest MUFON that reports every shred of information they gather is published. That's what we want.
Right. Now, but do you think, based on the style of approach that they have taken right now, and even if you get, let's say, 1,000 names from the membership signing the petition, do you think that's going to make a difference to them?
Predicting the future is difficult. But all we can do is move forward and tell people what we're learning, show them what the patterns are, and show them what they can do. And what they can do is sign the petition, and they can begin to communicate with their own state directors and the international director and say, listen, we know you can change the corporate charter. Change the darn corporate charter. It's not difficult, and it will not affect MUFON's tax-exempt status. We want a mechanism for the members to vote on the members of the board of directors. That's what we want.
Now, you want to change it from a dictatorship,
right,
to something that's more open, and people will get in because of their skill, not because of the amount of money they can pay to get on the board.
Yes, and with voting, there's a mechanism to affect the policy. See, if a board that you voted on did something you didn't like, then you could vote them out.
Right.
Now we don't have to. There's no mechanism. Right. Nothing.
That's a problem. And what they could just easily do is at the end of every month or at the end of every week, whatever the case may be, I would probably do it monthly, that you could just release all the files. Just boom, there you go. There's all of last month's files available.
Right.
To the public, have a ball. This is where we at. Now, if you're in a case that's progressing, now you may want to hold that information back until you at least reached a certain stage, because you're still, you're working through the case, as it were. But what's your opinion on that?
Well, absolutely. MUFON always had a procedure for protecting, first of all, the identity of many witnesses. They don't want their names in the paper.
No.
And that's fine. That's no problem. And it wouldn't be a problem to keep a case confidential until the investigation was concluded.
Yeah.
But once that investigation is concluded, then that information should be on the website, in the MUFON Journal, etc., for the world to read. There's just no other way. I mean,
and it doesn't mean at that point you publish these people's names. If they don't want their names published, you don't put it could just be case number 6853 case number.
Correct.
And it could be, informant or, the people involved in it. Witnesses. Yes, exactly. Yeah. You don't have to put the names out there. It's not important.
No, it isn't important, and you wouldn't put the names out there.
No.
You absolutely would not. But every single case needs to be published. And I'm speaking of investigated cases.
Absolutely,
the ones
I agree.
That that have been investigated. Then you have a good quality product there, and
they're not.
Right.
And they're not, and it's easy to do in this day and age.
No, occasional cases are,
and Elaine,
but not systematically. And we don't know. See, we no longer know about all the cases that are taken off CMS. We don't know about the ones we don't know about. But we proved that about over half of the entity cases are not to be found on CMS. I could cry. I mean, it's just a complete violation of MUFON's mission.
Right. You would think that people that have had to deal with this phenomena for as long as they've had to deal with it are doing so of their own volition, for their own interest in the subject in and of itself, and they want to get that information out there to everybody else. I mean, they have that sort of spirit to it. You know, if the government's not going to do it, we'll do it. We'll do the investigating. We'll collect all the information, and then we'll give it to the rest of the public. But if they're acting like the government by withholding the information, that should be a paradigm that's completely opposite to the original intent.
180 degrees.
Exactly.
Completely.
So that should say something. Now, if that's the case, I agree with what you're doing, and I hope it works, because I think that you can change it from the inside. I do. I'm going to be positive and say, yes, it can happen. But on the other side of the story, it's possible that if the intel op is running, because it's an intel gathering op, I mean, let's be real. If the intel gathering op is running, do you think the elites are going to say, yeah, you're right, we should just give all this information out? You know, that's going to have to sort of be pushed aside. They're going to have to all go. Right.
You're saying, what's it going to take? That's your question.
You know, get rid of them all. Get rid of the whole, all of the not all of the directors, but all of the people at the top, the people on the board, all have to go. And if they come back, they come back because they're voted back.
Right.
Right?
That's right.
Clean the slate, you know?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, that's what you know, if you're gonna dissolve the intel op that's happening right now, and that's what I want to go with, because it's what it sounds like, then you've got to change it from the top and wipe the slate clean and use the process of voting that you're talking about, and everything should be transparent. And if you have that sort of stuff, what you're going to gain is you're going to gain respect.
Yeah.
Because people now aren't the same people that were around 50 years ago. Transparency has become a huge issue.
Right.
And if you show it, you get that respect.
Right.
Elaine, give us a rundown of what happened to the previous director.
Well, he was the last director was a fellow named James Carrion. He was director for 3 years. And when the Bigelow when the Bigelow contract and arrangement came apart, which it came apart in the 10th month of a 12-month contract, the board of directors wanted to salvage the contract, and so they pushed James aside, and they decided to blame him. They communicated to Bigelow, "Oh, Mr. Bigelow, we're so sorry. It's all James' fault." James Carrion was apparently increasingly skeptical of the Bigelow arrangement. See, and we don't know what the Bigelow arrangement represented. I posed the question a minute ago: is MUFON cooperating? See, we're trying to figure out if this is an intel operation. What's the conduit? Is Bigelow? Is he a government agent? Are his secret undisclosed backers? I mean, I can hardly say it. It's so bad that MUFON would form a contract with somebody with undisclosed backers. Is that the CIA? His undisclosed backers? Is he the conduit for the intel operation? Is he still in CMS? Because see, the thing about CMS, it's very porous. You can get in there. It's not like, it's not like a Department of Defense computer. There's a lot of ways to get into CMS, and Bigelow could easily be in there right now, siphoning off cases. If it is an intel operation, did it come through Bigelow, or is it also in MUFON?
Is the board been corrupted? Has the board been corrupted?
That's the question, right? That's correct.
Yeah. Have they jumped on board? Because obviously, if they're willing to get together and get rid of the previous director because he didn't agree with what was going on, they shove him, they throw him under the bus.
That's what
and if they're doing it just for the contract, it's a good contract. We need to keep this contract. It'll be good for MUFON. If they're coming at it from that angle, they threw him under the bus for that. Or are they coming at it from, they're part of the operation, and this other guy was getting in the way, and they threw him under the bus?
Yeah, you see, we're trying to figure it out.
If that's a hard one.
Even though we know we're never going to be able to determine it. But one thing we're assuming is, suppose there's people on the board that are working with the government. Suppose that were true, and I'm not saying it is. But it wouldn't be everybody on the board. There's 9 members of the board. If 1 or 2 or 3 of them were working with the government, then they'd have to, there's 6 more who aren't. And those 6 have to be persuaded of whatever whatever direction we're supposed to be going in, according to the 3. I'm just making this up. I don't know if any of it's true. But so there's complications.
Right.
You're going to have those 6 people that are honest, and they're going to be what? They have to be controlled.
Right. Okay, so that goes back to my point. They might be honest, and yes, it might go one way or the other. But if you wipe the slate clean, say, look, guys, you know what? The board's got to be dissolved. If you get back in, you'll be getting back in on your own merit. Isn't that a better way to get back in?
Right.
Do you want to be associated with a board that, there's a lot of suspicion about? Or do you want to be associated with a board that now is transparent and has gained a lot of respect in an already existing group? MUFON is huge. It's been around for a long time. It'll put a new face on it.
It would. It absolutely would. And Jan Harzan is the person on the board who we hear, is supposed to be the next upcoming international director of MUFON, the CEO. And I sent an email to somebody who knows him well the other day and said, look, Jan, you might be able to run for election and win. They might vote you in, and then you'd have legitimacy.
Right.
Instead, if you become international director now, you're just the most recent appointment from the Politburo, just like they do in North Korea. And in many countries of the world, they tell you who your leader is. And that's what, in MUFON, they tell you who your leader is.
Your dictatorship, yeah.
That's right. That's right. So legitimacy is the question, and MUFON is losing it. And even if it's an intel operation, it could get out of hand in the sense that the membership could just drift away, and then what would be left? You wouldn't have a good intel. You wouldn't any longer have a vehicle for a good intel operation anymore.
Right.
But tell me something. Why do they need all this money? Okay, fine, they were broke, but it's not a huge operation that they will need that kind of money. A computer and a bunch of magazines that they put out monthly.
Well,
so
the magazine
How much money
is
do they
expensive.
Need?
The magazine is expensive, and MUFON
How
has
expensive is that?
MUFON has 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 employees, and
But wait a minute. If it's a charitable organization, what kind of employees could they have?
Well, any charitable organization has employees.
Has paid people.
Yeah, to some degree, yes, but part-time maybe. What possible work?
No, they have an office staff. They have 2 in the office. And then they need to pay the international director. They need to pay him something. It's a full-time job, for God's sakes.
Yeah, totally.
And then they need money for a laboratory analysis. They need money for equipment. MUFON needs money.
Yeah.
And the thing, we put in our petition that fundraising, we don't see any evidence they do any. Legitimate.
So the question there is, if they're not doing any fundraising, if there's no evidence of fundraising,
right,
where's the money coming from?
Well, the members pay $45 a year.
The members pay.
Right
exactly,
there.
Members pay. I don't even remember them doing any fundraising in the past.
Right. Right.
So,
They're too chicken.
you know,
They're too chicken or too lazy or, I don't know. Maybe it would
Or they
interfere
don't
with
need
the
it.
intel operation.
Or they don't need it as much as they say they need it.
Sure, they
They're
need it,
too
but
chicken.
you know the problem is. Excuse me. How many cases did you, in your 25 years with them, how many cases did you have that needed to have lab work and that sort of thing, and they paid for it?
It was very difficult to ever get money out of MUFON.
How much money did you get
I had
in your
one
25
case. I had one abduction case that I begged for help with, and I got a little bit of help, and it wasn't even worth all the trouble I took.
Yeah, because I think what Tom's saying is...
Let me say something here, okay? We here in Canada, in Toronto for that matter, okay, for the last, say, 15 years, right, we have we allowed anybody from anywhere down stateside or across Canada to send us any material, any implants, anything, and we would do all the work up here for free. And I was offering it for years, and many people, including Dr. Lear and many others, send the stuff up here. If MUFON had that kind of ability, with all this money that they supposedly need to do that kind of stuff, why can't they go to the universities and ask for help?
Well, the way you raise money is you go to wealthy people, and you find them in New York and Hollywood and elsewhere, and you also go to the world of foundations. And it's difficult, but every organization, every well-run nonprofit organization has a fundraising activity. And there are firms, there are businesses that will help you, and they get paid by a commission of the money raised. You see,
right.
And that's a professional approach. And I don't see any evidence that MUFON ever engaged in any of that.
Exactly. But at the same time, I've never, at least in my experience, I've never heard anybody from down there, any of the MUFON members that I've talked to over the years, had the ability to go up to universities and colleges and such and ask them to help them with whatever lab works or analysis or anything that needed to be done.
Right. You could not go to MUFON and get that done.
No.
But even individuals don't go up to the colleges because the colleges will do it for free. There's a ton of folks out there that are interested in this subject.
Yeah.
Nobody's utilizing. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, maybe they don't want to utilize it because then you would get...
Man, you know what I think is the stupor. In this field, it's been, people don't have the balls to go out there and ask. People waiting for somebody to walk up to them and offer them something. It doesn't work like that. For years and years, when the abduction phenomena, with Bud Hopkins and Jacobs and all these guys, they used to come up here, to talk shows, and I would approach them and I would say, okay, well, you have an implant, you have X-rays, you have this and that, and, let's bring it to our lab. Well, no, because, it might get lost. It might, the government might take it, the aliens might take it, blah, 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 blah. That's not the way you conduct yourself if you're an investigator.
Well, there are many examples of samples disappearing, but the fact is that what we know about MUFON today is MUFON doesn't have any money to do lab work.
But they don't need the money. All they need to do is go up to universities and ask them to do it. There'll be many universities with individuals within the universities that would love to get their hands on that kind of work.
Yeah.
So what we feel is if we get a new MUFON, then some of these wonderful ideas about what should be done could be implemented, because right now the board of directors is just busying themselves with firing the senior people in MUFON, micromanaging the states, conducting investigations. Oh, they've got lots of investigations of the members.
Oh, okay. Yeah, with the background checks and the secrecy.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, but that stuff is ridiculous.
Yes, and they got lots of time for that. Oh, they're really into that. That's a big activity in MUFON. Investigating.
So they have the time and the money for that, but they don't have money to supposedly, go out and do a proper investigation or analysis or whatever needs to be done. See, that's nice.
Yeah, no, Elaine, I can understand that you've had trouble in the past with getting lab work done, and you butted your head against the board or the MUFON in general. And these are probably smaller things that can be ironed out in time. But your main concern right now is getting the members that exist in MUFON right now, getting the information out to them that, hey, there's something going on right now. You need to be aware of it. I'm sure that there's a lot of, people at your level. You were a state director. You knew about what was going on. You're just finally, coming out and saying, look, we all got to get together, and we all have to change this. So you have something that people can sign.
Absolutely, we have a petition.
And you have a website where that can be located?
No, we don't. We don't have a website. We're just, we're 2 months old. We don't have a website. I was going to bring that up. I can give my email address, and I can also wondering if maybe people could write to Spectrum.
Actually,
they write to you guys, and you could forward it to me.
Yeah.
Actually, Elaine, if you want, you can put the petition onto our site and let people come in and sign it there.
Right, and they need to be MUFON members to sign it.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
It's not for the general public. It's for MUFON members, or I would include past members if they've been were a member for any substantial period of time, even if their membership's lapsed.
Yeah, maybe they left because they were just sick and tired of it. They're like, I'm not taking this anymore. I'm out of here.
Right.
Former members and members of MUFON. Now, maybe you should have two. Maybe you should have two of these petitions, because there is the general public, and the general public relies on MUFON for this information. They go to the site. They want to read this information. They want to know about this stuff. So if you have a separate one, which will give you sort of an outside of the MUFON opinion, meaning, do we want voting of the board members? Do we want clarity and transparency of all of the cases on the website? And they could sign that.
Right. In other words, that's a really good idea. In other words, have a petition that's for non-members.
Of course, because MUFON is supposed to be for the people.
Right.
Right? It's supposed to get the information to the people, not hold it within themselves and not allow you guys to do anything with it. I mean, just to sign a thing that says you cannot talk about your case. Just roll that around in your head for a minute.
Isn't that incredible?
That's amazing. You've spent months on a case. You are the person who's collected the vast majority of the data. The person who knows the most about the case is the person.
You can't tell your wife.
Can't tell your wife. Can't tell your children. Can't tell anybody. You can't go into a local meeting. Get this. You cannot to a local meeting, stand on a podium and tell the people that are paying to come to you and listen to you about your case. What is up with that?
It's unbelievable that MUFON has got to this point. The wonderful organization that we thought we had, that we worked in for years, all of us, all three of us, has got to this point.
I was in MUFON field investigator.
What's Carrion's? What does he say right now? What is he doing?
Oh, Carrion's interesting because Carrion is talking. He's writing a blog, and if you just Google James Carrion, C as in cat, Carrion, and you can find his blogs. He's got about six blogs that he's written about MUFON.
Right, and I'll put that link on our website.
No, is he a part of your group right now that's trying to make this change?
I would call him a friend of the committee. He's a friend of the committee to reform MUFON. He's a friend of it, an amicus. And my email address for me is my name is Elaine Douglas. So my address is E Douglas with two S's on the Douglas. So it's DOUGLASS, at frontier.com. eDouglas at frontier.com. 2 S's on the Douglas. Now I'm going to put the petition up on you guys' site, and I'll put up one of our cover letters, because when we send this stuff out to the membership, we send out cover letters,
right,
with things that we're learning, and we're going to be sending out more of those too, by the way, soon.
Okay. And if you could get on an email list, that would be good as well. That way everybody can get updates.
Yeah.
Hey, UFO updates.
Yeah. And by the way, everything we say, we check.
Yeah.
We check. We check and check. We don't just say one person told us one thing, that's a fact. No. It's not a fact until at least 2 people tell us, or 2 or 3. Then it becomes something we take seriously. And because we're not trying to make wild statements here.
Yeah, you're not trying to destroy, you're trying to rebuild. That's
Correct.
The difference.
Correct.
Right. And
I really appreciate you guys' interest in what we're doing. I'm very grateful to you.
I mean, been around MUFON for a long time. I've handled cases myself, abduction cases, all kinds of stuff. Tom's done stacks and stacks of cases. So, I mean, we have a personal investment in this. Even though MUFON Ontario broke away from MUFON International in 1993, he broke away for a lot of the reasons that you're talking about now. And that there was some problems, with the organization. And it's just gotten to the point now where it's become an intel op and gathering information and giving nothing out. That's the description of an intel op. I don't care whose intel op it is. It may just be the board members' intel op. It may be the people at the top of MUFON's intel op.
Yeah.
Or it could be something else. It could be a government or a military intel op. I'm not saying that. Not at all. I'm just saying this does sound like an intel op.
You're saying the basic pattern of an intel op is information in, nothing out.
Exactly.
And that's what we're seeing in MUFON. It's not complete. It's not every piece of information doesn't come out. Some does, but there's too much that doesn't. There's too many reasons, and this authoritarianism, with MUFON starting to carry itself like a public agency backed by the force of law. Where does that come from? It's eerie. It's ominous. It's wrong. And we know it's wrong,
Well, if at any time we can be of any help, certainly with any, lab work or any kind of thing that you guys may need, you're welcome to let us know, and we'll definitely do everything for free up here.
Thank you so much, guys. It's been my pleasure to be on this show.
Thank you very much. And anybody who wants to look at this petition or sign it, you can go to www.Spectrum Radio Network. I'm probably going to have it in the news section when she sends it to me. And we're going to have to get the webmaster to make it so it can be filled out. Now, do you want it filled out on the site, or do you want him to just download a copy and email it to you? We can do it either way. Elaine?
Yeah. Thanks so much, guys.
It's our pleasure.
Thanks so much.
Our pleasure.
Bye-bye now.
Okay. Have a great day. Okay. We're closing the show down, and we'll catch you guys next week.